Life's knocked you down. You're carrying that weight. Those mistakes, those regrets. But listen up. That's not your destiny. It's just a chapter. Today we're turning that page. Your past. It's a minefield of what-ifs and if only. We've all been there. That promotion you missed, the relationship that crashed and burned, the opportunities you let slip through your fingers. They haunt you, don't they? But here's the truth. They don't define you. They never did. Today, we're going to rewire your brain. We're going to transform those past failures into fuel for your future. This isn't some feel-good nonsense. This is about forging yourself into the person you're meant to be. Why should you care? Because right now, you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back. Your past is holding you hostage, and it's time for a jailbreak. Whether you're 16 or 60, whether you're at the bottom or clawing your way to the top, this is your wake-up call. So are you ready to break free? Are you prepared to turn your scars into stars? Let's dive in and rewrite your story. Weight of the past. Let's get real for a moment. Your past? It's like quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. You replay those moments, those failures over and over. It's a broken record, and you're the needle stuck in the groove. Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself from taking a risk because of what happened before? How often do you hear that voice in your head saying, "Remember what happened last time"? It's paralyzing, isn't it? This isn't just in your head. Science backs it up. Our brains are wired to remember negative experiences more vividly than positive ones. It's called negativity bias. Back in the day, it kept us alive. Now, it's keeping you from living. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine carrying a backpack. Every regret, mistake, missed opportunity, you toss it in day after day, year after year. How heavy is that pack now? How fast can you run with all that weight? But here's the kicker. You're not just hurting yourself. The weight affects everything. Your relationships, your career, your dreams. You're not showing up as your best self because you're too busy being your past self. And let's be honest, it's comfortable in a twisted way, right? Dwelling in the past gives you an excuse. I can't succeed because of what happened. It's a get-out-of-jail-free card for not taking risks or putting yourself out there. But ask yourself this, is that backpack worth the life you're missing out on? Are those old stories worth sacrificing your future for? Here's the truth, and it might sting a little. The past is only as powerful as the meaning you give it. You're the author of your story. Right now, you're letting your past hold the pen. It's time to snatch it back. Reframing the past. Your past isn't a prison. It's a classroom. Every setback, every fumble, every faceplant into the dirt. That's not failure, that's education. Think about it. You learn to walk by falling. You learn to talk by babbling nonsense. Why should life be any different? Let's borrow a page from the Stoics. These ancient philosophers had a revolutionary idea. External events don't hurt us. It's our judgment about them that does the damage. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So how do we do this? How do we turn our past from a burden into a boost? First, stop seeing yourself as a victim. You're not a punching bag for fate. You're a warrior in training. Every hit you take, that's just toughening you up for the next round. Second, get curious. Instead of beating yourself up over past mistakes, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? That failed relationship may have taught you what you really need in a partner, and that job loss may have shown you what you're truly passionate about. Third, practice gratitude.
Yeah, I know, it sounds soft, but hear me out. What if every bad thing that happened to you was actually setting you up for something better? That breakup, it freed you up to meet the right person. That setback at work, it pushed you to start that business you've been dreaming about. Here's a challenge for you. Take your biggest regret, the one that keeps you up at night, and then find 3 ways it made you stronger, wiser, or more resilient. I'll wait. Done? Good. That's the power of reframing. You just turned poison into medicine. Remember, your past doesn't define you. It refines you. It's not about forgetting what happened. It's about changing what it means. You're not erasing your history. You're rewriting it. So, are you ready to stop being a prisoner of your past and become a student of it instead? Learning from failure. Let's cut to the chase. Failure isn't your enemy. It's your greatest ally. Every time you fall, you're not falling behind. You're falling forward. Think about the last time you failed. The gut-wrenching disappointment, the shame, the self-doubt. Now, imagine if you could harness that energy. Turn that pain into power. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who was born into slavery and rose to become one of the greatest thinkers of his time, said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Let that sink in. Your failure doesn't define you. Your response does. Here's a hard truth. Success is a lousy teacher. It's seductive. It makes you think you're invincible. Failure keeps you hungry. It keeps you humble. It keeps you learning. Let me ask you this. Have you ever met someone who's never failed? I'll tell you what they look like. Soft, untested, unprepared for life's real challenges. Now, think about the people you admire. The ones who've achieved greatness. I guarantee you, their path wasn't a straight line. It was a messy, chaotic scribble of attempts, failures, and comebacks. Take Thomas Edison. The man failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about it, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of a winner. Or consider J.K. Rowling. Before Harry Potter, she was a broke, divorced single mother on welfare. 12 publishers rejected her first book. Now, she's one of the most successful authors in history. These aren't just feel-good stories. They're blueprints. They show us that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of success. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you fail, and you will fail because you're human and you're trying, I want you to celebrate. That's right, celebrate, because you just found a way that doesn't work. You're one step closer to finding what does. Remember, the master has failed more times than the beginner has tried. Every scar you have is a lesson learned, and every setback sets you up for a comeback. Seneca, another Stoic heavyweight, put it this way: difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Your failures aren't weakening you, they're forging you into something stronger, something better. So I want you to make me a promise. Next time you fail, instead of beating yourself up, ask yourself these questions. What did this teach me? How can I use this? How did this make me stronger? Because here's the truth. You haven't failed until you quit. Everything else is just learning. So, are you ready to turn your failures into fuel? Are you ready to fall forward? The power of present focus. Listen up. Your power isn't in your past. It's not in your future. It's right here, right now. The present moment. That's your playground. Let's get real. How much time do you spend reliving past mistakes or worrying about future problems? If you're like most people, it's way too much. You're letting life slip through your fingers while stuck in your head. Marcus Aurelius, dropped this truth bomb. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The past, it's gone. The future, it's not here yet. All you've got is now. Think about this. Have you ever been so focused on something, a game, a conversation, a task, that time seemed to disappear? That's what psychologists call the flow state. It's when you're fully present, fully engaged. And guess what? It's where peak performance happens. Now, I'm not saying ignore your past or don't plan for your future. I'm saying don't let them ruin your present. Your past doesn't need you. Your future doesn't exist yet. But this moment needs you fully here. Here's a challenge for you. For the next 24 hours, catch yourself whenever your mind wanders to the past or future. Bring it back to now. What do you see? What do you hear? What can you do right now to move towards your goals? Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Are you fully appreciating what's in front of you? Or are you too busy regretting yesterday and worrying about tomorrow? Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're driving a car. The windshield is huge, but the rear-view mirror is tiny. Why? Because what's ahead of you is much more important than what's behind you. Your life should be the same way. Here's the thing about focusing on the present. It's where your power lies. You can't change the past. You can't control the future. But right now, this moment, you have the power to choose, to act, to change. Buddha, not a Stoic, but hey, wisdom is wisdom, said, "The secret of health for both mind and body is not to mourn for the past, worry about the future, or anticipate troubles, but to live in the present moment wisely and earnestly." So here's what I want you to do. Take a deep breath next time you dwell on the past or are anxious about the future. Feel your feet on the ground. Look around you. Ask yourself, what can I do right now to make progress? Remember, life isn't something that happens to you. It's something that happens right now, in this moment, and you have the power to shape it. So are you ready to seize the present? Are you prepared to live fully in the now? Breaking the chains of expectation. Your life isn't a script written by others. It's your story to tell. Society, family, friends, they all have expectations. But here's the truth. Those expectations are their limitations, not yours. The ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, "Care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner." Let that sink in. Every time you live up to someone else's expectations, you're locking yourself in a cell of their design. Think about it. How many times have you held back because that's not what people like me do? How often have you silenced your dreams because they didn't fit the mold others created for you? Here's a hard truth. The world doesn't need another carbon copy. It needs you, the real, unfiltered, unapologetic you. Miyamoto Musashi, the legendary Japanese swordsman and philosopher, said, "Do not fear death. Fear instead never beginning to live." Are you truly living if you're constantly trying to meet others' expectations? Challenge every should in your life. Question every supposed to. Are these your goals or someone else's dreams for you? Remember, the path of least resistance leads to a life of quiet desperation. Don't go quietly. Go boldly. Go in the direction that sets your soul on fire, even if it means disappointing a few people along the way. Here's an exercise for you. Write down all the expectations others have of you. Now cross out the ones that don't align with your true self. Feel that. That's the weight lifting off your shoulders. The Buddha said, "The mind is everything." what you think you become. So what do you want to become? A people pleaser living someone else's life? Or the architect of your own destiny? Others' imagination doesn't limit your potential. It's limited by your courage to break free from their expectations. So I ask you, are you ready to shatter the mold? Are you prepared to disappoint a few people to become the person you were meant to be? Because remember, at the end of your life, you won't regret the expectations you failed to meet. You'll regret the life you failed to live. Shape your future. Your future isn't some distant land you'll stumble into. It's a place you create right now with every choice you make. Your past? It's just the raw material. You're the blacksmith, and this moment is your forge. Let's get something straight. Your future isn't written in stone. Your past mistakes or your current circumstances do not dictate it. It's shaped by your actions, your decisions, and, most importantly, your mindset. Seneca, that old Stoic badass, said, "It's not because things are difficult that we dare not venture. It's because we dare not venture that things are difficult." Think about that. How often have you held back because you thought you weren't ready, because you were afraid of failing again? Here's the truth. You'll never be 100% ready. The perfect moment doesn't exist. Your future is built in the trenches of today, through blood, sweat, and relentless forward motion. Imagine this. You're standing at the foot of a mountain. Your past is the valley behind you. Your future is the peak ahead. Now, are you going to stand there, staring at the summit, paralyzed by its height? Or are you going to start climbing, one step at a time? Marcus Aurelius didn't mince words when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Your future isn't something that happens to you. It's something you happen to. Now, I want you to consider where you want to be in 5 years. Got it? Good. Now here's the million-dollar question. What are you doing today to make that happen? Because your present actions create your future self. Remember this. Every great achievement in history started with a single step. The Great Wall of China began with one brick. Your transformation starts with one decision right now. Here's a hard truth. Your past doesn't equal your future unless you live there. You're not a tree. You're not rooted to one spot. You can move. You can grow. You can change. Epictetus dropped this gem. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. It's not enough to dream about your future. You've got to put in the work to make it real. So here's what I want you to do. Take out a piece of paper. Write down your vision for your future. Now, underneath that, write 3 things you can do this week to move towards that vision. Not next month, not next year. This week. Remember, your future is created in the present. Every decision you make and action you take is a brushstroke on the masterpiece of your life. So are you going to keep rehashing the same old picture? Or are you ready to create something new? Your past has brought you here, but it doesn't get to decide where you go next. That power lies with you, right here, right now. So I ask you, are you ready to forge your future? Are you prepared to become the architect of your destiny? Turning pain into power. That pain you're carrying, it's not a burden, it's rocket fuel. Every scar, setback, and moment that brought you to your knees is all potential energy, and it's time to ignite it. Nietzsche, who was heavily influenced by Stoic thought, said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." But I'll take it a step further. It doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you unstoppable. Think about it. Every hardship you've faced has taught you something. Resilience, creativity, grit. These aren't just fancy words. They're weapons you've forged in the fires of adversity. Remember this. The most influential people in history aren't those who've had it easy. They're the ones who've been through hell and come back with a map for others. So here's what I want you to do. Take your biggest pain point, the thing that keeps you up at night. Now, ask yourself, how can I use this? How can I turn this poison into medicine? Not just for myself, but for others. That failed business may become the foundation for a mentorship program. That heartbreak may become the art inspiration that touches others. Your rock bottom could be the bedrock for someone else's breakthrough. This isn't about putting on a fake smile and pretending everything's fine. It's about acknowledging your pain, respecting it, and then using it as a catalyst for growth. Remember, a diamond is just a piece of coal that handles stress exceptionally well. So I ask you, are you ready to stop being the victim of your circumstances and start being the alchemist of your life? Are you prepared to transmute your pain into power? Practical steps. All right, enough philosophy. Let's get our hands dirty. It's time to turn these ideas into action, because knowledge without action is impressive but useless, like a Ferrari without gas. First up is self-reflection. Every night before bed, ask yourself, what did I learn today? How did I grow? What can I do better tomorrow? This isn't just journaling. It's reprogramming your mind to focus on growth, not guilt. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." So, practice gratitude. Every morning, list 3 things you're grateful for. They can be big or small. This trains your brain to look for the positive, not dwell on the negative. Next, reframe your self-talk. Catch yourself when you say things like, "I always screw up," or "I'll never be good enough." Replace them with, "I'm learning," and "I'm getting better every day." Your words shape your reality. Choose them wisely. Here's a powerful one. Create a failure resume. List your biggest failures and what you learned from each. This isn't a pity party. It's a celebration of your resilience. It's proof that you can take a hit and keep moving forward. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So, practice mindfulness. Set aside 10 minutes a day to breathe and be present. This builds your mental muscle to stay focused on the now, not trapped in the past. Now, let's talk goals. Don't just set them. Reverse engineer them. Want to run a marathon? Start with a 5K. Want to write a book? Start with a page a day. Break big dreams into small, daily actions. Here's a challenge. Do one thing every day that scares you. It doesn't have to be big. It could be speaking up in a meeting or trying a new workout. This will build your courage and prove that you can handle discomfort. Remember, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, as Seneca said. So, practice visualization. Spend 5 minutes a day imagining yourself succeeding, overcoming obstacles, and becoming the person you want to be. Use this to your advantage, because your mind can't always distinguish between imagination and reality. Lastly, surround yourself with growth-minded people. Find mentors, join groups, and read books by those who've overcome similar challenges. Your environment shapes you. Make sure it's shaping you in the right direction. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like a lot of work, and you're right, it is. But ask yourself this: is the life you want worth the effort? Are you willing to work to become the person you know you can be? Remember, every master was once a disaster, and every expert was once a beginner. The only difference? They didn't let their past define them. They used it as a launch pad. So, which of these steps will you start with today? Which one resonates with you the most? Because here's the truth. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. Your future self is watching. What will you show them? Overcoming challenges. Let's face it, this journey isn't going to be a walk in the park. You're going to face obstacles. Doubts will creep in. Old habits will try to drag you back. But remember this, the obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Think about that. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to prove your strength, to sharpen your skills, and to become even better than you were before. First challenge, the voice in your head. That nagging doubt telling you you're not good enough, that you'll never change. Here's how you silence it. Action. Prove it wrong. Every single day. Remember, you're not your thoughts. You're the one who decides which thoughts to believe. Next up, the comfort zone. It's cozy there, isn't it? But nothing grows in the comfort zone. Seneca nailed it when he said, "It's not because things are difficult that we dare not venture. It's because we dare not venture that things are difficult." So, get uncomfortable. Embrace the suck. That's where growth happens. You'll face setbacks. You'll have days where it feels like you're back at square one. But here's the truth. Setbacks are setups for comebacks. Every time you fall, you learn how to get back up stronger. It's not about never falling. It's about always rising. People around you might not understand. They might try to pull you back to your old self. Epictetus has some wisdom. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Their opinion of you is none of your business. Your growth is. There will be days when motivation fails you. That's when discipline kicks in. Motivation is fickle. Discipline is reliable. Build habits that pull you towards your goals, even on your worst days. You might feel like an imposter, like you're faking it. Good. That means you're pushing your boundaries. Remember what Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Keep showing up, keep doing the work, and eventually you'll become who you're pretending to be. The hardest challenge? Patience. In a world of instant gratification, real change takes time. But ask yourself, where will you be in a year if you keep pushing forward? Where will you be if you give up? Here's a powerful exercise. Visualize your future self, thanking yourself for not giving up and for pushing through hard times. How does that feel? Let that feeling fuel you. Remember, every hero's journey has challenges. Without the dragon, there's no hero. Your challenges aren't stopping you from becoming who you're meant to be. They're shaping you into that person. So I ask you, what's your dragon? What's the biggest challenge standing between you and the life you want? Name it, face it, and remember, the bigger the dragon, the more glorious the victory. You've got this, not because it's easy, but because you're strong enough to handle hard. So are you ready to face your challenges head on? Are you prepared to turn your obstacles into opportunities? Call to action. The past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. Who said that? It doesn't matter. What matters is whether you're ready to live it. Are you prepared to stop being a prisoner of your history and start being the architect of your destiny? Look around you. See that guy at the gym, pushing through his last rep when every muscle is screaming to quit. He's not just building muscle, he's building resilience. That woman giving a presentation despite her hands shaking. She's not just sharing information, she's conquering fear. These are modern-day Stoics. They're not wearing togas or pontificating in ancient forums. They're in boardrooms, classrooms, and even in your mirror. Take Ryan Holiday, for example. This guy turned ancient Stoic wisdom into best-selling books and a thriving business. He didn't let his past as a college dropout define him. Instead, he used those lessons to fuel his success. Or consider Rear Admiral James Stockdale, who survived 7.5 years as a prisoner of war in Vietnam. His secret weapon? Stoic philosophy. He said, "I never lost faith at the end of the story." I never doubted that I would get out and prevail in the end and turn the experience into the defining event of my life, which, in retrospect, I would not trade. These aren't superhumans. They're people like you who decided to take control of their story. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Pick one thing, just one, that you've been avoiding because of past failures or fear. Now do it. Take that first step. Remember, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in the face of fear. Write this quote from Marcus Aurelius and stick it where you'll see it daily. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Your past doesn't define you unless you let it. Your future is not set in stone. It's shaped by the choices you make right now, in this moment. So what's it going to be? Will you keep letting your past write your story? Or are you ready to pick up the pen and become the author of your own life? The choice is yours. The time is now. Your future self is watching. Make them proud. Now, go out there and show the world what you're made of. Because remember, you're not just capable of change. You are the change. Let's do this.